And it looked like Caitlin Clark is in some serious hot water with WNBA players over the...
Caitlin Clark has just become the lightning rod for fury sweeping across the entire WNBA, and the wildest part? She hasn't even played a single game to deserve this backlash. The scene is almost unbelievable. 98% of players stood united, voting yes to authorize a strike during these high-stakes CBA negotiations. But that tiny 2% who said no, suddenly, the world thinks it knows exactly who's in that shadowed corner. And of course, all eyes have landed squarely on Caitlin. The league's brightest star is now under relentless fire, shredded across every social media platform imaginable. The proof against her? Flimsier than a paper wall in a hurricane. And the question burning through my mind is this: when did simply standing by your own convictions become a crime worthy of public lynching?
The latest that we have in the WNBA CBA negotiation. Now, we heard Caitlin Clark speak on the CBA, and I think that's very noteworthy because Caitlin Clark is not going to be the person that steps up and is incredibly outspoken about every single issue that may come forward to her. Of course, she'll touch on things that are important when she has media availability, press conferences, practice scrums, whatever it might be. But Caitlin Clark isn't going to be the most active person on social media speaking out for or against certain things. So when Caitlin Clark says something, you know that it is thoughtful. You know that it has undergone a lot of thought. You know that she knows, we all know, that when Caitlin Clark says anything...
Let me lay bare the storm that just erupted in the WNBA, because honestly, this has spiraled into total chaos. The Players Union just dropped a bombshell. They've officially greenlit a potential strike if the CBA talks collapse completely. And when I say the support was overwhelming, I mean crushing. 93% of players cast their votes, an almost unheard of turnout, and of those, a staggering 98% said yes to strike authorization. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't just solidarity. This is nearly the entire league saying, we're willing to walk away from everything we love, from the games, the fans, the money, if we don't get what we deserve at the table. But then, here's where the story derails into madness. That tiny, almost invisible 2% who voted no. With no evidence, no leaks, no official confirmation of any kind, the basketball world immediately pinpointed a target. And of course, the spotlight landed on Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, turning her into the lightning rod for suspicion and outrage.
Say, did Caitlin Clark vote in favor of the WNBA strike? Fans think they've figured it out. Now it says WNBA players move closer to edge as the labor talks drag on to resurface. They said the WNBA collective bargaining negotiation are no longer seemingly quietly in the background. They are now firmly in the open, with players making it clear that they are prepared to escalate if talks continue to stall. So from my understanding, if they strike, that is the ultimate F you to the owners, bruh. Now, on Thursday, the Women's Basketball Players Association announced that its executive committee has been authorized to call a strike when necessary.
Before we dive into just how utterly insane this accusation against Caitlin really is, we need to step back and grasp what strike authorization actually means. This isn't some instant, the league stops tomorrow declaration. Players aren't walking off the court tonight, and practices aren't being canceled. What this authorization does is give the Players Union Executive Committee the official green light, the power to call a strike if negotiations hit a dead end and everything falls apart. Think of it as a weapon in a tense standoff, a strategic lever they can pull to show the league, loud and clear, that the players mean business. They're signaling, we're serious. We will escalate to the ultimate option if it comes to that. And here's the kicker, in nearly 30 years of WNBA history, not once has there been a player strike. This is uncharted territory, a storm brewing where no one has ever stood before. The stakes? Massive. The tension? Explosive. And the world is watching.
An historic vote, WNBA players overwhelmingly approved a strike authorization. 93% of players participated in the vote, and of those 93% of players, 98% voted yes. Now hold up. Before you work yourself up, this does not mean that a strike is happening right now. But it does mean that players have the right to call a strike if they feel that labor negotiations are breaking down. So why does this matter? Players and the league remain far apart on several key issues. Among them are revenue sharing, free agency rules, retirement benefits, and family planning support. Brianna Stewart, said she would welcome help from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver at the bargaining table, which can be looked at as an indication that negotiations are not progressing in a constructive manner. The league, meanwhile, says negotiations are ongoing and points to proposed increases in salaries and revenue sharing to support their characterization that they're committed to getting it.
The battles being fought behind closed doors in these negotiations are nothing short of monumental. The very future of the WNBA hangs in the balance. At the center of the storm is revenue sharing, the hottest, most explosive issue on the table. Players are demanding a direct slice of league revenue, just like NBA stars have for decades. But owners are digging in, refusing outright, warning that the league is still bleeding money and buried under decades of debt. Then there's free agency, a minefield that's causing headaches at every level. Add to that retirement plans, comprehensive family support, and proper housing during the season, all basic, legitimate demands, and you see why the tension is almost unbearable. Nobody is saying these requests aren't justified. The real question is far more dangerous. Can the league actually deliver on all this, given its finances? And more importantly, are the players ready to risk everything this season, their fans, their careers, to make it happen?
Very high level, and I think the most important thing for myself, thinking about these CBA negotiations, this is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up, and we're going to fight for everything that we deserve, but at the same time, we need to play basketball. That's what our fans crave, and that's what all of you crave as well, is you want the product on the floor. And at the end of the day, that's how you make the money, that's how you're marketable, that's what the fans get excited about, that's what the fans want to show up for. So, it's business and it's a negotiation, and there has to be compromise on both sides. And, we're starting to get down to the wire of it, and it's become really important. And, obviously I want to help in any way I can, and I try to educate myself the best I can. Obviously I can't speak to every single number, it's pretty complicated, but I think there are different things that we can find ways to say, no, we certainly deserve that, and we're not going to compromise on that, and then other things that we can probably compromise on. But like I said, this is the biggest moment in the history of the WNBA, and I don't want that to be forgotten.
So where did this wildfire of accusations against Caitlin Clark even begin? It all traces back to a single media session at USA basketball training camp, where Caitlin spoke candidly about the CBA negotiations. That's it. One interview. Yet somehow, the basketball world collectively decided, with chilling certainty, that she must be part of the tiny minority who voted no. Let's dissect what she actually said, word for word, because the truth shatters this whole conspiracy. Caitlin stated, "This is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it cannot be messed up." She acknowledged that players must fight relentlessly for what they deserve, but she also emphasized the importance of continuing to play the game, because that's what fans crave, what fuels the league, what drives revenue and exposure. She spoke about compromise, strategy, and the high stakes of this historic moment. She said, "It's critical to find a way to play next season because the fans and everyone who paved the way deserve that." Now, pause. Where's the smoking gun? Where does she explicitly say she opposes a strike, or that players don't deserve what they're asking for? Nowhere. Her words were measured, thoughtful, and strategic, perfectly reasonable, deeply nuanced. But in today's world, rational thinking is treated like betrayal. Enter the armchair detectives of social media. One fan boldly claimed Caitlin Clark is probably part of that 2% who voted no. On what evidence? That she acknowledged the importance of playing basketball and the need for compromise. That is the so-called proof. And yet, that thin thread of assumption has triggered a digital lynching. Here's the kicker. The vote was anonymous by design. Only the players and union leadership know the results. Zero leaks. Zero insider confirmation. Zero credible reporting. Just rampant speculation, twisted into a narrative of guilt. And still, Caitlin's reputation is under siege. Comments online are vicious, personal, and relentless. She's selfish, greedy, only protecting her endorsements. The accusations are flying like wildfire, all based on nothing substantial. This is guilt by assumption at its most brutal, a world desperate to find a culprit and willing to bend reality to make it fit.